Now, having said all of this, as someone who's a mom, I understand some people feeling like, you know what, all of this is really just too much. I would rather just stay in the relationship and at least I am there with my children. And this channel, we make room for all stories, all kinds of living situations. So we're not going to judge. The only thing I would say to you is, because I've been there before, staying for the children, thinking my presence can protect the children. I'll ask you, how successful were you in that? A lot of the time, our children, they still get harmed. Sometimes, especially as they grow older, sometimes when they're young and cute and cuddly, we might be more successful in that effort. But as they grow older, they're becoming teenagers, they're challenging authority. Have you observed how the abusing partner treats the children, plays one of each other, scapegoats one, makes one the golden child, causes dysfunction within and amongst your children? At the end of the day, in abusive family setups, everybody is hurt. No matter how much you as the victimized parent loves your child and you want to cover them and you feel you can cover them, we are not enough. The solution of staying really is more like a band-aid on a leaking burst pipe, water pipe. It is barely a solution.
Right. And I guess this comes to the point of, we've been harping on it, that the most important thing you can leave with, escape with, is your life, your life, your life. When it comes to this issue of life, you don't have to be a spiritual person, but I'm speaking from, at least on this issue of life, a little bit spiritually. But on the end, I'm also going to just put some actual life academic education in there as well. So you can be physically alive, but not really in your full life. And once you get to that point where it has come into your consciousness that you're not able to live your full life, that's when, you've decided to escape because it's just untenable for you to be you. Now, if you make that decision thinking that you will protect your children or shield your children from the worst of the abuse by remaining in that environment with the abuser, you still cannot live your full life. So you will have to kill yourself or a part of you, if not all of you. And suppress that or hand it over to the abuser in order to remain there. Now, if you don't have your full self, your full life, how much protection are you really offering? That's number one. Number two, as my sister said earlier, the children grow up. And so they grow up and they see their eyes open. And what usually happens is that you'll find that the children then have their eyes clear to, this parent is abusive. This parent is not letting me live my full life. This parent did not let my mom live her full life. And then in their own coming to, what often happens is that then they end up resenting the parent, the non-abusive parent, because what your presence does there is it legitimizes the abuse. It normalizes the toxic environment. And it enables the abuser further. You're essentially covering for the abuser, whether you consciously know it or not.
And you muddy the waters for your children.
Exactly.
And you cause them to intertwine love and
abuse. And then they become used to existing in dissonance. They become used to toxicity, to chaos and toxicity, and that affects them for the rest of their lives. As somebody whose mother stayed for the children, I ended up being scapegoated. And to this day, I still weep from my inner child, just from the wounds that I had. I did have some resentment from my mother growing up. wondering why she didn't protect me better. And so like it just recreates and regenerates cycles. Your presence there, just giving a check mark to everything. And as my sister said, children grow up, they become their own person, and then they find themselves either fighting the abuser for their own lives or fighting their abuser for your life as the mother, if you have been ground down enough. And so it's very complicated. It's very difficult. It's very painful. And we by no means like minimize the effect on a mother who makes that choice to escape with her life physically, spiritually, and like her whole life, in order to be able to make the best of herself, to live to fight another day, and to provide that care, comfort, succor for the children when they do grow old enough. The motherhood is not like, motherhood comes in so many different ways. Taking care of yourself is motherhood, whether you're in the presence of the children or not. So there's just so many layers to it. And we grieve every day. We, as a family, we grieve every day, not having access to the children. But if we could do it all over again,
nothing will change.
Nothing will change.
Absolutely nothing will change. I just want to make that very, very clear. So this is a life that I am currently living, and my life is still a beautiful one. There's nothing that can ever change that fact. And I'm a mom. That is the greatest honor of my life. And there's no one that can ever change that fact too as well. So I'm just here to just assure you that whatever is best for you, whatever decision you need to make for you, it can look the most unconventional. It can look completely radical. It can look crazy to some people, but the important thing is your life and that you have one.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about some things you can expect if you are successful in your escape. You've made your escape, you've gotten your clean break, you're, hopefully starting your healing journey and, trying to pour into in a place of safety, exactly, and trying to just like build back up again, start over as we've talked about. Here is what you can expect from your abuser. Number one, Darvo. So this is a well-known term in like psychological circles. It's well documented. Abusers will do this. And DARVO is an acronym. It stands for deny, accuse or attack, and reverse victim and offender. So, especially if you've been the kind of perfect victim who was silent all the while before your escape, just taking it, making the best of it, covering it, putting the makeup on your black eyes, all that stuff. And suddenly you've left. And so people had no idea what was going on. Oh, your abuser is just gonna go straight. First of all, they're gonna deny. It's not true. The gaslighting, they will gaslight you and gaslight everybody around you. It's not true. It's not true. It didn't happen. She's the one who's lying. After that,
the funny thing, a lot of the time, even after leaving the relationship, the victimized party actually still remains silent.
Yeah.
It's usually the abuser that goes around calling people up. Have you heard? This person left me, blah, blah, blah. This is what she did. And then, so sometimes you are on the back foot because you didn't go around calling anybody up, but they have already done that, calling everybody.
Exactly. Denying anything that, led you to escape, and then also attacking your credibility. Immediately they go on the attack. No, I didn't do it. She's the one who did this. They start accusing you of everything that they did. They make up all sorts of just lies. They smear you, the most outlandish, disgusting rumors, they're just the weirdest thing. And they'll say it like, with a full straight face coming from the chest, like it's true.
What they say is that this is where their mask, the mask that they had been struggling to wear, this is where it comes up fully.
This
is where you see who they really, really are. and you will be shocked.
Yeah. And like it over and over and over and over again, the most abusive parties, the most abusive individuals will tell the story and victimize their own selves. They will paint themselves as the victim and you as the offender. And if you're not expecting this can just bamboozle you. It can stun you. It can harm you, actually. Like, this is studied stuff that it affects the physical and psychological health of victims who have, you finally managed that escape. You are finally trying to shatter your silence. And we use that word shatter because it's no small thing to start talking about what happened to you. And you get that, courage to finally be able to do that. And, the abuser will go on the offense, and a lot of victims will become silenced again because it's just too much, or because they just really weren't expecting it at all. So, just be prepared for that.
And not just from the abuser themselves. Like I already mentioned, their family is usually just, usually you would actually need a bath by the time you finish hearing some of the things that this abuser and their people have to say about you. Just ew.
Just nauseating things.
Right.
Right. And another thing that can come with that as they go on this, campaign is, people who you thought were neutral, or people who you thought might have been allies, or people who you thought you could trust, confide in, who knew you or knew of you, might be swayed. They might be manipulated, and they might believe the abuser, and that can be very painful for the victim. It's a kind of betrayal, and just be prepared.
Sometimes it's even people that you knew.
Exactly.
And the abuser only knew
through you. Right.
You will be shocked. The people that you felt had always been in your corner, how they can very easily turn against you. Some of them, it was an easy mistake. They were just
manipulated by the abuser.
But also, for some of them, this is where the wolves in sheep's clothing in your life gets to be revealed. So I think I saw a video from Dr. Ramani. If you don't know Dr. Ramani by now, look, Dr. Ramani on YouTube is where you need to go. So she had mentioned how, look, as a victim or as someone who's been victimized like this, it can be easy to feel very, very hurt, and you're just beside yourself when this kind of things happen. But she also says that, use this as an opportunity to take stock of your life.
Exactly. Your new life.
Exactly. Anyone who could have easily been manipulated by the abuser, by the caricature or the picture that the abuser painted about you, that person
was never really for
was
you to
never
begin with.
Really in your corner. If they can believe the kinds of things that are being said about you, so use this as an opportunity to clear out your life. Make room for something new. Make room for the people that actually deserve to have access to you and deserve to actually be there. This is a perfect opportunity. Okay? So don't even waste energy trying to convince those people that, no, it wasn't like this, or it wasn't like that. That's not what happened. No. Just wash your hands off of it. Now, if you want to speak about your story in an empowered way, you want to help, that's a different issue. But don't even waste energy trying to combat the abuser in trying to correct the narrative that they're spinning about you. Don't bother. It's not worth your energy. Again, you have already won. That is a loser's song that he's singing, that they're singing. They're singing a loser's song, and that has nothing to do with you. Okay? You will be surprised that even as the abuser is going about, saying all sorts of things about you with their smear campaign, don't be surprised when they're sliding in your DMs. At the same time, y'all, in tandem with the post-separation abuse, a lot of them are still in your DMs trying to get you back, love bombing you, promising to do better. you be like, again, this is part of like when you're with an abuser, you get used to living in cognitive dissonance. But now, once you've left, you start to see the craziness of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
One minute you're there, running your smear campaign, saying how much you hate me, talking bad about me to other people. And at the very same time, you are sending me love letters, calling me pet names that you had never called me in this life, There's one name that my abuser used to call me when we were dating in 2012. It was at the time I escaped the relationship. That name was I could not be, I even forgot about the name. I was like, what? So they're sending you hate mail, they're sending you love mail at the same time. Expect that kind of confusion. But again, that is their chaos. Wash your hands off of it completely. Okay? Do not be dismayed by the promises to do better, to change. If he would have changed, he should have changed before you escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he is capable of changing, so that means he withheld changing.
Yeah, that's the thing. They knew what you needed. They knew what you wanted all along, but then they refused to do that. They made the choice to not behave accordingly in a way that will keep you there when you wanted to be there. And now that you have said, I'm not doing again, I've left, suddenly it's like all the perfect things. They know exactly what to say. They know exactly what you need to hear. Don't fall for those promises.
Manipulation.
If you get back into the clutches of that abuser, the cycle is going to start again, and it's going to start at a higher level. The fall from that new love bombing, oh God. No, don't even go near it. Another thing is that, the abuse, you're being abused, you say, I'm leaving. The abuse doesn't stop there. So as we've talked about earlier, post-spousal separation abuse is real. The smear campaigning, they might, if they know where you are, they might stalk you, they might stalk your family and friends, they might do all sorts of manner and crazy and outlandish things again.
Litigation abuse.
Yeah, litigation abuse right there in the legal arena, right there in the courts. Whether it's like, fabricating things there, having to counter things in court to litigate issues in court that come on, or
that they know are false.
Yeah, exactly.
But they just get the satisfaction of wasting everybody's time.
Exactly. Or filing all manner and types of frivolous things to have you just there expending time and resources and money just there. I read something the other day where this person, I think they had been, she had left her abuser. It'd been 7 to 10 years, I think. And it's like every year without fail, she'll get like a summons to court for something ridiculous, and she'll have to like go there and spend money again. And so sometimes they just don't want to let you go because again, it's just about that control, that power, that access. Like I said, they'll stalk your family and friends. They might smear your family and friends. They can react in all kinds of outlandish ways. If they have your nudes, don't be surprised if they either threaten to or actually go ahead with like releasing that and, revenge porn. So,
that's another thing too as well that I struggled with because, I was severely, manipulated into, sending nudes all the time, making sex tapes, things like that. So that was certainly one of my biggest concerns that and this is something that I already know he had been showing to people. He had been showing to his family, showing to friends, so I said it's something that was certainly a great concern for me that this guy was going to do revenge porn on me. But at the end of the day, I was just like, you know what, I have my life. Again, that is the most important thing. As much as things like this can be hurtful, it can feel like something that was intimate, something that was private is being, as usual, they put their dirty paws on it and, they just make everything a whole mess. But these are just the costs that you just count and you just throw in the back of your mind and not even give an F about. Because look, at the end of the day, if you can be so low down and dirty to do revenge porn, just again, ew, the ick, ugh, So don't even let yourself be bothered by any of this. You've already won. That's the biggest thing. So guys, this video, we try to itemize things just to make it easier to digest some of this information because, of course, we know that we're speaking about heavy stuff on this channel and we certainly don't want to overwhelm. We want to make sure that we're delivering the information in in the most useful manner, in the way that you can take it in and make the best decision for yourself. So again, I just want to clarify that, look, we have room for all stories here, okay? We have rooms for all ways of combating this dirty, disgusting thing called abuse. So, I hope we didn't come off as you must do this, you must do that, we're just speaking from what we know worked for us and from what we
I've learned.
And what we have learned. A lot of this is research based, okay? So certainly, again, I encourage you. I always say run towards the research. Don't run away from it. I know it can be tough. It can be hard,
overwhelming.
Exactly, hearing the truth about your situation, but run towards the research so that you can make the clearest, most authentic decision for yourself and your life and for the people that matter most to you. Okay?
Once again, we see you, we hear you, and we believe you here at the Warrior Enclave.
Keep on fighting, y'all. Okay?
Bye, Warriors!